Hey everyone, just want to give you a brief testimony. I've been noticing lately people are talking a lot about receiving dreams from God. And a few weeks ago, I was with Tom and Ahava Fisher at Cardboard Box Training in Charlotte, North Carolina. And as Tom was getting set up, Ahava was talking to a brother named Steve Casey from Philly and his family. And they were talking about dreams, and visions they had had. And so I just felt led to tell them this one dream I really definitely felt was from God. And it was back in 2001 of August, actually just a few weeks prior to 9/11. And it's a very powerful dream that I had one morning. And it was about heaven. So just would like to briefly tell you about that. In the dream, I was in heaven. I couldn't see my body, but I was just spectating. So like there was like this big, massive, almost looked like a church, like I was inside of a church building, and all the walls were white. And the funny thing was when I looked straight up, there was like no ceiling. It just like the walls just went up for miles, and everything was white. The church pews, well, the pews in the building were white. There was thousands upon thousands of people inside this building. They were all sitting down or actually standing up, and they were dressed in beautiful white robes. And so like I was on the platform behind these two people that were speaking to all these thousands of people, and they were dressed in white. And there was this one lady, that was speaking. She was wearing like a white, pure white, beautiful dress. It had like frills going all the way down it, and she had this like really long blonde silverish hair. And I never did get to see her face actually, but she, if you remember Jan Crouch from TBN, she kind of resembled like like it almost looked like I was looking at Jan Crouch from behind. And she was standing there, this woman, and she had right next to her was a tall 7 foot blonde haired angel with the blonde hair going down to his shoulders, and he was standing there next to her. And as she was speaking, the words weren't in English. It was like, that was the funny thing about the dream. It was like, I believe she was speaking like an angelic heavenly language, and I couldn't understand it. But in my spirit, in the dream, I knew she was preaching and talking about Jesus. And so as she kept talking, all these people were getting excited. These thousands of people, there was this roar of the crowd, and people were just leaping and jumping up and down. And even this angel was like getting excited and leaping up and down, and as this lady kept speaking. And so it went from that to where I was in the back of the building, and the whole scene just changed. Uh, and I'm looking, and I see this angel, the same angel. The woman's gone, but the angel remained, and he's standing there. And all those thousands of people that I believe were God's saints, they were in a single file line, and he was standing with his hand like holding him back, and they were all in a single form line. And the very first person in that line was a really old man, and he was just had this joy of Jesus all over his face, and he was giddy, and he just couldn't like stand still. And this angel's like holding him back like this with his hand, and at the same time this angel's like waiting for a signal. He's like holding his fingers to his ear. He's like waiting for a signal from somewhere. And when I looked at all these people, these saints, including this old man that was all the way up front, the they were all dressed in these beautiful robes or gowns, and they were all white. And even the males and the females, they all had wedding veils on, and it was really cool. And I was like, oh wow. And just even that old man, he had a wedding veil, a simple veil that went over his face, but you could see his face, but there was just a veil going over his face. And what was holding it, the veil to his face, was this beautiful white satin sash that was tied to hold the veil up around their forehead. Every person had this. And in the center of the sash, the satin sash, was an indented letter. And it was a single letter. And I recognized that it was like a Hebrew letter. I didn't know what the Hebrew letter was, but This is what it was. This is what I drew out, and this was the letter that each one of these people had on their sash. If you can see that, I looked this up even like years later. I'm not a Hebrew scholar. I don't know the Hebrew alphabet, but I looked it up. I Googled it, and it blew me away when I actually found this letter on the internet. And this is what these people, every person had on their sash. They had it. It was indented. It wasn't written on. It was actually indented into the fabric. Was this particular letter, and it's from the Hebrew alphabet. Its letter number is the number eighth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it's pronounced Chet. It looks like Chet, Chet, like a male person in this country would be called Chet, but it's actually pronounced Chet. And what's awesome is I found out the meaning of it. It means life, and it's a very popular symbol in the Jewish culture and the Hebrew culture. It means eternal life. It also means, I found out recently, going on YouTube and checking out some YouTube channels and videos, there's actually a Jewish rabbi who talks about this, and he was saying that it's not only just means life, but this part here, the staff part that comes down, is like female. It's like a feminine part of the letter, and this part here is like the male part of the letter, and this part over top that he said was like uh, the covering going over represents God, and that this is like a marriage. Like, and it's also, if you notice, it's like a doorway. It's like an arch, like a doorway. And back in the times of Moses, what did they do? At the Passover, at the doorway, they put the blood on the doorway, which saved them from death that particular night in Egypt. So, like, this is really awesome. This means eternal life. It means the doorway, and it means Messiah. So these people had this letter imprinted onto their sash, and they were all wearing it. And so, like, this angel, he's holding back this one saint, this older saint. He's holding back like this, and then the only words that were in English in this whole dream that I had was when this angel got the signal, and it was a signal from God. He let his hand go, and he went, "Go, go, go, go," and all these people just started running to the front of this building where the platform was, and there was this, and from the platform, from the side, was this big, immense, giant, white, bright light, and then my wife woke me up. And Tabitha, she felt so bad. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I woke you up." And I said, no, I think that's all I was supposed to see. But I really believe that dream God gave me, that white light was Jesus coming, and it represents the marriage supper of the Lamb. And that dream I had was like just a week or two before 9/11. And it's just such a powerful dream, and I just wanted to share that with you, and hopefully that blesses you, and look forward to also talking about some other visions in the future that God gave me, but I just want to keep this one brief for you. So I hope you enjoy it. If you like this video, I do have a YouTube channel, Second Wind Ministry. You can subscribe, you can like, and share, and God bless you. Have a blessed day.